Hi and welcome back to the Ruby Tuesday. My name is Ruben and this is my review for Netflix's original series Love and Anarchy. Sophie, a career-driven consultant and married mother of two, when Sophie gets an assignment to modernize an old publishing house, she meets young IT tech Max and an unexpected flirting game begins. So this series is 8 episodes long, half an hour each, so you get through it fairly easily. It's a Swedish original, so you probably will have to read subtitles if you don't like listening to dubs, which I'm not a huge fan when they're not done in the language. When they're not done with local actors but in English, you do lose some of it because sometimes the dubbing is Americanized or whichever country that the actors are from, it just doesn't feel quite right. So I always err on the belief that the subtitles are better and listening to the original language. That's the way I prefer to go. So Sophie comes to a publishing house and her job is to bring this company into the modern era, turning this publishing house from doing the old school way of things and not being digital and to bring them into the digital realm. Upon entering this job on her first day, she meets a young IT guy named Max. And there's this flirting relationship that starts. And this is where the crux, the whole kind of arc, kind of revolves around these two main protagonists, where their flirting is somewhat different to what you've normally seen. She is a married woman, and her husband seems to be okay. She's got 2 kids, so you do right from the beginning going, what are you doing? Why are you doing this? You've got a wonderful family, and there was quite a few episodes where probably about halfway in I was like, I like Max and their flirting is cute and I like what they're doing there, but I don't like the fact that they're glorifying her kind of wanting to break up a marriage, wanting to break up a relationship. It's not until the latter half that you start to understand that there's more going on. You kind of figure out that there's a reason why she is centering on another guy and not her husband. Not saying that's okay, I'm just saying that's what this story is. The flirting, however, between Max and Sophie is very interesting. So the way they do things, they kind of do dares, like, okay, so now you have my lipstick, this is my favorite lipstick, and in order for me to get it back, you tell me what I need to do in order to get it back. And so they're always trying to one-up each other, and obviously that leads to massive, hilarious consequences and sometimes disastrous consequences, and the fate of even the publishing house comes to a crux of what they've done, and so that all obviously heightens towards the end. You get that kind of arc circle. You're expecting the last couple of episodes to kind of come to a halt where the relationship comes to a head between her husband, between Max, between the publishing house. And along the way, you have these side stories. It kind of ticks all the boxes of what you expect this type of story to be. So it's ticking the boxes of the kind of building up other protagonists, kind of side protagonists. So you have people that work at the publishing house and you start to figure out what they're about. The first couple of episodes you may not even like the characters, but as you go towards the middle, maybe the latter half, they start really developing some of the characters. You understand why they're old school or the way they think they do. I like the characters in the publishing house. The only character I don't like is the boss, because he's a sniveling weasel that doesn't really seem to want to run their company at all and always leaves the hard work to everybody else, and he doesn't do his job because he is the CEO, which does suck. So I don't know if you will be with me on this, but as a person, as a fake character in this fictional story, I was like, yeah, I don't like you, dude. I don't like you at all. Nevertheless, the flirting, like I was mentioning earlier, was quite unique. There's one particular dare that she's told that she has to walk backwards all day, and that is hilarious. So there's things that they do that is quite funny, and genuinely you do like them together as a couple, but in the back of your mind you're always going, yeah, but you're married, yeah? Like, what are you doing? And then there is a moment where you start understanding what is happening in her relationship. And then it delves more into the Max character, and you start understanding why he is the way he is. I particularly like it when the dares help them rather than tear down things around them or hurt others. I like the fact that sometimes the dares end up making them better people, if that makes sense. It's not often, but that, it kind of goes up and down throughout the series. it is filmed well, nothing to write home about. I think the acting is quite fun. There are moments with dialogue scene or monologue scenes with the scripting that I thought were excellent, particularly between Sophie and her father. That's a very endearing storyline between Sophie and her daughter. I think when they're getting down to the drama and really kind of themes that they touch on, other themes that are not necessarily part of the main arc, is probably where this series is strongest, which is unusual. Normally you would think that the main arc is the main thing that works the best in this series. I think it's the relationship with her family, even between her husband, you know, that there's the strain of the relationship, you feel it, and I think that's good. It's shown well. But then you get the acting between her and her father and her and her daughter, when you get those really dramatic scenes that kind of invoke I guess emotional outcomes from the viewer, and it does bring about that. I think they've done their job well. And so I don't know if you'll be with me. I think you will. When you get to those moments, you'll be like, yeah, I am feeling something there. That is something I can relate to somewhat, which I think when you do that with your viewers, you're doing the right thing. If you can invoke an emotional response from your viewer, and they definitely did get me in moments, and I think that's great. They also did get me to laugh a bit in moments, but like I said, it did make me go, hey guys, I know what you're trying to do here, but you're still kind of glorifying somebody sleeping around, or really kind of messing around on a marriage. If your marriage is that bad, maybe you should just get a divorce, separate, sort it out, go to counseling, something. Yeah, so I was just like, yeah, I can't judge. I don't know. Actually, you know, this there are all sorts of human beings and all types of characters, so this is the story that they've chosen to tell. But from my perspective as a married man, if my wife was doing that, I'd be pretty hurt. So yeah, so that was like the first half, and then later on, when you start understanding what they're trying to do, you kind of, I guess, you breathe a little bit and you're like, okay, I get it. The acting is good, and like I mentioned before, those moments, the dramatic moments, are better. When you get the comedy moments, it is that outrageous. Sometimes you're like, this feels like a rebellious series. Like the person that was writing this series, it feels like a rebellion against society, breaking all the social norms, doing what people think isn't the culture, the Norman culture, you know, stripping, nudity, drugs, doing things just differently to what is the social norm. That's what this series is, and it kind of flips that on its head, gives it a title, gives it a meaning between a flirtation between two people, and it shows that through that medium. And then we have all those other relationships that it develops really well. So I thought it was a really interesting, different take on this type of story that's been done to death. We had one recently on Netflix, which was about fashion, and it had similar genres and themes. I thought that was more tongue-in-cheek and easy to get into, but didn't have a lot of depth. This one, I feel like at times it has more depth. So I'm going to give this a B-. Chat to me in the comments below. What did you think about this series? Are you going to give it a go? I think it's okay. I don't think it's brilliant, but there are moments when this shines, which is why I'm going with the B rating. Otherwise, I probably would have given it a C+. Chat to me in the comments below. I'd love to know what you think about this series. Are there any others that you like, especially Swedish series? Thanks so much for watching this, but most of all, until next time, remember, live long and Tuesday.